Hey everybody, it's Coach Mike here. Today, I've got a 30-minute full body flexibility routine for you. This is beginner focused, so I'll make sure that if you're new to flexibility training or if you're on the less flexible side, I'm gonna be giving some modifications to get into some of these well-known stretches a little bit easier. So to make life easier, we're gonna need two pieces of equipment. So first, I'm using a yoga strap, but you can use any piece of fabric, a towel, anything like that that's roughly your arm span. Shorter is okay. And then secondly, I'm using yoga blocks. If you don't have yoga blocks, I do suggest getting them, especially if you want to get flexible. They're very, very useful for flexibility. They can modify things to make them both easier and harder. We use them in many, many videos on our channel and many videos that you'll see with flexibility overall. But if you don't have yoga blocks, that's totally fine. Doesn't mean you're out of luck. You can also use a really thick pillow. We're mostly using the yoga blocks today as something to sit on to help make some of these stretches a little bit easier. So our structure today, we're gonna have a quick warm up. We're gonna do 8 movements, 30 seconds on, 15 seconds off, just to get the body warm and ready to stretch. And then for the stretches, we're gonna be holding them for a full minute. So I do suggest intensity-wise, if you're holding for a minute, to keep the intensity lower. Most beginners get into flexibility and they go a little bit too hard with the stretching right away. So you wanna think of, on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being so hard you can only hold it for 1 or 2 seconds, and 1 being so easy you basically don't feel it. We wanna keep things around a 6. So it should be mildly uncomfortable, but something you can hold without fidgeting or budging for at least 60 seconds. So mildly uncomfortable, but not so uncomfortable that you have to come in and out of the stretch. So less is more. You can always add intensity as the stretch goes on, but if you start too intense out the gate, your muscles will seize up and it'll be hard to get into that relaxed state that flexibility requires to improve. So without further ado, let's jump right into future Mike and let's get stretching. All right, guys, we're gonna start with a cat and a cow. So we're gonna come to a hands and knees position. Have your shins flat on the floor. We're gonna start by rounding the back and tucking the chin and try to get the spine as round as you can. And then we're gonna arch the back and look up and bring the shoulders together. So let's go ahead back and forth. Round the back, tuck the chin, and get your spine as round as you can. And we're gonna go the other way and bend your spine as far as you can the other way. This is called cat and cow. It's a really good stretch to get your spine warmed up. We're just gonna go back and forth here and just get things nice and loose. You can breathe in when you look up and exhale. And stretch. Okay, so we're gonna do basically the same movement, but side to side. It's called a lateral cat cow. So from this hands knees position, we're gonna bend the spine as far as you can to one side and look over the shoulder, and then bend your spine as far as you can to the other side and look over the shoulder. So let's go ahead and get into it. We'll look over to the right, bend the spine as much as you can. And then to the left, bend the spine as much as you can. We're just going side to side. So these first 3 movements are focused on the spine. We're just gonna bend the spine in all 3 ways that it can and just get things loose. Okay, and we're gonna do some twisting. So from this position, let's sit your bum down toward your heels. If you can't reach your bum to your heels, that's okay. Just go as far as you can. And we're gonna bring the elbows to the floor and hands on the head. And from here, we're just gonna rotate. So take one elbow up to the ceiling as far as you can and twist the body. And then we'll switch and do the other elbow up to the ceiling and twist the body. And we're just going back and forth, just getting some rotation to the spine. In the perfect world, we can keep the bum down on the heels, but I know it's not a perfect world, so you might not be able to, and that's totally fine. Excellent. Okay, we're gonna come on to the bum. We're gonna do a movement called hip openers. So sit with your hips open to about 90 degrees and bring your chest nice and tall. And from here, we're gonna swivel the hips side to side. So bring the knees in as far as you can to one direction. Try not to turn your body, just keep your hips and shoulders face forward, and then we'll go the other direction. Watch that your knees stay bent to about 90 degrees. And don't focus on getting the knee down, just go down as far as you can and feel a bit of a stretch in the hips here. Just keep working side to side. all we'll do is let's take both legs out to the left-hand side to form a 90-90. So 90 degree at the knees and 90 degrees at the hips. And if you have troubles just sitting in this position, grab your block and have a seat on that. And we're just gonna stretch forward over top of the left leg and feel a little bit of a stretch in the hips here. So if you have troubles getting into this 90-90 position, just use a block under your bum and stretch forward to feel the left side, the muscles of the glute and hips stretching. You can move side to side a little bit and feel the muscles of the hips and try to keep your back nice and straight. And if you have a block under your bum, let's just get rid of it. And we're gonna walk the hands out to the left-hand side and put your left elbow on the floor. So maintaining that 90-90 position. And then from here, we're just gonna twist the spine. So take your right arm up, open the chest, and then take the arm under the body and stretch the lower back. And we're just gonna twist side to side here. Again, twisting the spine and stretching the lower back a little bit, and you might feel a little bit of a chest stretch. Okay, and we're gonna go ahead and switch the legs over to the other side. So let's take a 90-90 position to the right. And again, if you have trouble sitting upright here, grab yourself the block and have a seat on that. You're gonna sit nice and tall. Stretch the chest long and forward and feel the stretch in the bum on the right-hand side. Keep the chest nice and tall, spine long. And if it feels good for you, you can move side to side to stretch the glutes a little bit more. So for our stretches today, we're gonna start with the lower body, kind of work our way up, starting with the feet. Okay, so let's go ahead and remove the block if you're using it. And we're gonna walk the hands to the right, put the elbow on the floor. So we've got that 90-90 position. And then we're gonna rotate body. So take the left arm up to the sky and open through the chest. And then we'll take the arm under and stretch the low back. So we're just going side to side here. Okay, so we're gonna start with our first 60-second stretch. This one is definitely harder than it looks. So if you have something to sit on, grab it, and we're gonna sit. So tuck your toes under so that all 5 toes are curled. This is called a curled Seiza, and then we're gonna sit the entire body weight down on the bum. Now, if you can't get your heels and your bum to touch, you can take your pillow or block and sit it between your heels and your bum, and we'll hold this for 60 seconds. You're gonna feel the bottoms of the feet and the toes stretch quite a bit. If you're really tight in the legs, you might feel your thigh muscles stretching as well. That's totally fine as well. Remember, for these stretches, try to start at about a 6 out of 10. So not too intense, enough that you're feeling it, but not so intense that you have to fidget in and out of the stretch too much. Okay, so we're gonna do a seated hamstring stretch. We can put our blocks aside for now. We're gonna sit with the left leg straight in front, and we'll take the right leg and bend it so your foot is beside your thigh. So if you can't sit fully upright, you can take a block and sit, or your pillow and sit on that. And then we're gonna stretch towards the foot. Now, if you're not able to reach the foot, that's where the yoga strap comes in handy. We can strap that around the foot and then work on pressing the leg into the floor to straighten the back of the leg and work on getting your back nice and flat. So don't worry too much about reaching the foot. We want to keep your back as straight as possible and press the leg into the floor and think about bringing the belly button forward. And that's the most important thing, is keeping your back flat. That'll help you feel the hamstring the most. Okay, and we're gonna do the same thing on the other side. So let's get the right leg out in front and the left leg will be tucked in at the side of the leg. The hurdler stretch, we'll sit up nice and tall. And then again, if you can't sit up straight, if your back is really hunched, you can grab a block and sit on that, or we can use the strap to help straighten the back. Let's find that 6 out of 10 intensity and hold it. Actively pressing the leg down into the floor. That'll help you keep the back of the leg stretching. Keep working on straightening the back out as best as you can and keep the intensity of the stretch to about a 6. And you might notice that as you're stretching, the stretch starts to feel a bit easier, at which point you can just stretch a bit further and bring that intensity back. Okay, so next up we've got a butterfly stretch. So we're gonna sit, we can put our strap aside for now, sit with the bottoms of the feet together, and then bring your feet as close to your bum as you can. So if you can't sit upright and you're very rounded, grab yourself a block and we'll sit on as many blocks or pillows as you need to stay upright. So the first priority is get your feet close to your bum. And then the second priority is to pull the knees down away from each other. You might be up like this and that's okay. Just keep slowly pulling the knees out and keeping the heels together. So try not to push too much with the arms. It's better to pull with the outsides of the legs to get more of the stretch. And then work on getting your back as straight as you can with this one. And just keep on opening up through the hips, pulling the knees down and apart. After this, we're going to move into a half frog stretch. Okay, so we'll come onto the knees. Blocks aside for now, and we'll take the left leg straight out to the side. So we want to keep it nice and straight, and then this right leg we're going to move wider until you feel that intense stretch on the inner thigh of the left leg. And we're just going to hold this position. If you can bring your elbows to the floor and feel this left inner thigh stretching. And if you can't bring the elbows to the floor, this is where your pillow or your block comes in handy. You can hold like so. We're just going to hold this and keep that left leg nice and straight and feel this stretch on the inner thigh. You can think about flattening out the back and sticking your bum out. That'll increase the intensity of the stretch as you go. Do the exact same thing on the other side. So let's have the left knee on the floor and the right leg straight out. And then you can walk the foot as far out as you can before you start to feel that intense inner thigh stretch. And then from here, we're going to bring If you can, the elbows to the floor, and if you can't, block or pillow is great. You feel that intense inner thigh stretch here. And then if you're able to, let's try to stick your bum out, keep the back as flat as possible to feel the stretch down that right side inner thigh. Okay, so next up, we're gonna move into a pancake stretch. So we're gonna have a seat on the block. And then here, we're gonna bring the legs out very wide as you can handle. Okay, so you might be here and that's totally fine. Go nice and wide. So the block is here. You can use more than one block. The block is here to help you tilt your pelvis forward, and then keep the legs wide and we'll fold forward from here, trying to keep the back flat. Now, if you're more flexible, you don't need the bottom block. You can just sit on the floor. And if you're less flexible, you can grab a pillow or something to hold on to help keep you upright. But try to keep your toes pointing up and your knees pointing up toward the ceiling, and fold into this stretch as best as you can. Okay, you're gonna feel an intense stretch in the inner thighs. You might feel the back of the legs. You might feel your lower back or hip stretching. All of those places are good. Just keep trying to press the legs into the floor to keep the legs straight and pull the body forward to feel this intense inner thigh. You might feel it inside the knees as well. All of those areas is fine. That's where this stretch works. Hold. A few more seconds here. And we'll go to what many people will consider to be the hardest part of the workout, which is the hero stretch. Okay, so we can stay seated on the block here. And we'll try to bring the left shin tucked into the side like so. And then your right leg will be out in front of you. So if you can, try to have the shin completely flat to the floor. Sit on more blocks if you need. And then from here, we're gonna lean back to stretch this thigh. You might feel the shin too, that's fine, but we should be feeling mostly the thigh. Try to keep the shin on the ground. Now, if you're not feeling a stretch and you wanna make it harder, we can remove the block entirely and sit on the floor, and then lean back into this stretch. In an ideal scenario, you'll be able to bring your back all the way down to the floor. So, to feel the stretch in this thigh. And that's what we're aiming for over time. But for now, we just hold and feel that thigh stretch at whatever level you're at. Just double check that your foot hasn't turned out. Make sure the shin stays straight. Okay, and we're gonna do the same thing on the other side. So if you're using your block, let's have this under the bum, and we're gonna bring the right shin tucked in at the side and the left leg out in front. Try to keep the shin straight, and then we're gonna lean back to stretch this right thigh. And here we go. Feel like things are getting more flexible, we can go ahead and remove the block and sit your bum right down on the floor, and eventually lay right back down with the back on the floor. Feel the stretch all through this right thigh. Okay, so for the next one, we're gonna lie down on the back and we're gonna do a figure 4 stretch. So let's lay down on the back and we'll take the left foot. So have your right foot flat on the floor, take the left foot and bring it on top of the right thigh. And then we can grab underneath the right hamstring and pull towards the chest. If you're more flexible, then you can take your hand on top of your right shin and pull it into the chest. And if you have troubles and you're less flexible, then you can use your strap and use that to pull in. Okay, so you're feeling the stretch in the left side glute in this figure 4 position and pull in. Once you start getting more flexible, start working on trying to flatten out your back and get your tailbone to touch the floor while you pull the knee into the chest. And that'll really stretch the left side glute. Perfect, so we're gonna go ahead and switch legs. So left foot on the floor, we're gonna take the right foot on top of it. And again, if you can grab your hands under your the back of the thigh. And if you're more flexible, you can grab the shin. And if you're less flexible, use your strap. And we'll pull in here and feel the glute on this right side stretching. Okay, so let's flip over to the stomach. Put your strap and blocks aside for now. And we're gonna lie down with the arms out in a T. And let's take the left shoulder and rotate it so it's flat on the floor. And then look to the right. And then from here, we're gonna roll the chest off the floor and stretch the left shoulder. I know my back is to the camera here, but you should see the left shoulder stretching. And rotate with your body. So you can step your leg back and rotate and stretch that left shoulder. Once you get more flexible with this one, you can start taking your right hand and placing it behind the back for some extra leverage. Okay, and we can do the other side. So lie down on the stomach again. We're gonna place the right shoulder on the floor, look to the left-hand side, and then we're gonna turn the body to the left. Just lay the head flat on the floor and rotate and feel the stretch all through the right side of the body. Here we go. And feel that right side stretch, and if you get on the more flexible side, you can take the hand behind your back for some extra leverage. Let's feel that stretch. Okay, we're gonna move into some child's pose. So lie back down to the stomach and we're gonna press the hips all the way back and sit your bum down close to your heels. And if you can't reach, we can take the block and place it between your bum and your heels for some comfort. Reach the arms out in front, forehead on the floor. And we're gonna start by walking the hands to the right and then take your left hand, place it on top of the right and push your hips back to stretch this left side of the body. You'll feel kind of in this rib area. So left hand goes on right and stretch back and feel the left side of the body stretching like so. And if for comfort, you can place a block or two between your bum and your heels. If you can reach your bum to your heels, just sit right on the heels. Let's walk the hands all the way to the right hand side. And we're gonna take the right hand placed on top of the left and then sink the hips back to stretch the right side of the body. This is a lat stretch. These are our lat muscles here. And let's sink into it. Stretch the right side of the body. Hold. Okay, so let's have a seat. So we can sit in a comfortable seat, cross-legged on the floor. If you can't sit cross-legged, that's fine. Have a seat on a block, get nice and comfy. We're gonna start with a trap stretch. So sit nice and tall. We'll take the left hand and place it under your left side glute and then lean your head to the right. And you take the right hand up to the left side of the head and just gently pull to stretch the neck muscles on the left side of your body here. Try to think about pushing the head long and out of the socket. So keep the spine long, don't crunch the neck up, and feel that big stretch all through the side of the neck and the trap muscle, and lean your body away. If you spend a lot of time on the computer, you'll notice these muscles get quite tight. This might be your new favorite stretch. You can do this sitting at a desk. Just hold the bottom of your chair and lean. And then we'll do the same thing on the other side. So let's take the right hand, place it under your bum or under your block. Sit tall. Lean off to the left-hand side, and then we're going to take the left hand on the right side of the head and lean to the side. And here we go. Okay, and we're gonna finish with my personal favorite with some neck rolls. So we're just gonna be looking up and back and rolling the head through the biggest range of motion you can. And then on each rep, change direction. So make sure you're not rolling into any pain. It should be smooth and comfortable the whole time. But let's begin. Roll the neck through the biggest range of motion that you can, and all the way up the other side, and then the other way. If you do feel any points are a little bit crunchy or painful, just skip those sections or reduce your range of motion to avoid any of those uncomfortable feelings. All right, that's time. Thanks so much for joining me today, guys. If you are new to the channel and you want more like this, we just recently finished a 31-day full body mobility program. It is a daily routine that you can do over the course of 31 days that will help take you from beginner to intermediate and introduce you to a lot of the movements that we use on the channel. I've linked that down this area somewhere. Check it out. We'll see you in the next one.